Welcome to Tri-State Triumphs, everybody, and we are pleased to be joined by the pride of Camp Point, Illinois, by way now of Rogers State University, the women's basketball coach there, Mr. Kyle Bent. And Coach Bent, obviously great to have you with us. I know that this has been such a unique journey for you, kind of a journey you've made your own way at through the course of your coaching career, but at what point did it become aware and apparent to you, Kyle, that this was the goal. This was what you wanted to be as a profession?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know. I was set to kind of do bigger school, club sports and intramurals. And my last year of graduate school at University of Illinois, I volunteered and coached the club team, and kind of got the itch. Now Coach Rodriguez at John Wood let me do some things for him, prior to that, but. We had a little bit of success, and I figured, this is kind of what I want to do. So I just kind of threw myself into it, and fortunately, Danville had an opening. It just was kind of the perfect storm, and 10 years later, here I am.
How do you think the idea of, approaching it a different angle, coming in at it from club coaching, has kind of shaped who you are?
Well, forced to do a lot of different things, and kind of hit the ground running. I was heavily involved with the intramural side, so I kind of offered my services, thinking that maybe show them a few drills and get the balls out for them. And first practice showed up, and they just looked at me and stood there like, "What are we going to do?" So it really made me take a deep dive into kind of the nuances of game planning, practice scheduling. But we took it very, very seriously. Got to travel all over. Ended up in Raleigh, North Carolina, for the national tournament. So it was a good induction, to me, to the realm of coaching. And I'm glad that I started where I did, because it's made me appreciate it a heck of a lot more.
The journey from there to here is a unique one as well, because you touched on, you go to Danville, you have some success there, and you just kind of keep building it along. Look at your foot in the door, and I think that's probably an important part of this story. Opportunity kind of presents itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, from once I finished at Illinois, Coach Rodriguez and Coach Elby put in a good word for me at Danville. Was fortunate to get hired there, and we had some success. And then just kind of right time, right place. I didn't know anybody at Martin Methodist. I don't know anybody here. It just has kind of progressed, and being able to have some success, recruit the area strongly, being involved in the community. It just kind of leads into the next step. But I've been extremely, extremely fortunate to be here now. Having been a head coach for 10 years. Still got a lot to learn, though, so I'm not gonna rest quite yet.
It's a unique journey for you in terms of, this is a whole new different animal with what you're doing at Rogers State, and trying to not only coach but make a transition of sorts as well. How's it gone so far? And kind of, I know you're at point A of this state, taking over that program 2 years in. But how do you what are the pitfalls, and what you kind of have to push forward to get this where you want to go in a really good conference?
Well, just being able to recruit the state of Oklahoma. It took my staff and I a little bit longer than I think we would have preferred, being about 8 months to really dig our heels in. And it just is going to come down to, you got to have the players that are going to fit your culture, that are going to allow you to coach your personality, and transitioning from the Heartland, where we played the national champions twice each year, but then going to MIAA, extremely, extremely strong league. So having quality players, but you really got to have high character kids, and that's what we're pushing to do. It was kind of a come in, let's develop the culture that we want, and then go after the players that we think is gonna fit our system, our culture, schematically, kind of the whole 9 yards. It's been quite a challenge, but we have a really good 2020 recruiting class. It takes time. You got to be patient, which I struggle with it at times, but it's a part of it. And I think we're, my staff and I are very excited about where we're at, moving forward.
You talk a little bit about coaching to personality, and I got a chance to see a little bit when you were at the UCO level and what your coaching personality was. But who does that draw from, Kyle, in your past? Is it part you? Is it part coaches you had? Kind of where has that persona from you come from?
When I was younger, I probably went about it the wrong way. I was pretty intense, probably too much so. I felt like I could will, our team to win just by, the enthusiasm and the effort and energy that I brought to the sideline. And really, as I've gotten older, I understand that that's just really not the case. So I think it just, was a transition for me, trusting myself and really understanding that, kids today, they can really understand or see through if you're not being genuine. That's an easy thing for them to decipher and decode. So I think it just was a part of me growing up. Not necessarily anybody in my past that I looked to from, hey, how to act on the sidelines or in practice. It's just one of those things to finally being comfortable in my own skin. And it took some time.
How much did your experience as a player, going all the way back to high school and junior high school, how much of that do you carry with you? How much of that point do you carry with you, just kind of as, a shaping force on who you are and having success in this vocation, which you said yourself you've kind of accidentally found as your calling?
Yeah, to look back, going to Camp Point and being around so many quality coaches from middle school through high school is pretty phenomenal. Like when I go back and think about it, I would tell you that, Coach Pat Rafferty, who I played for 3 years, his fingerprints are all over every team I've ever coached. Learned a lot from him, and then there's others, Eric Stotts, who I think I played baseball and basketball for from junior high into high school. He used to say, layups and free throws, and, wants to emphasize those types of things. And I'll still catch myself uttering, some of those quotes from my past. But just being around so many good coaches, and I think that's a testament just to the area back then. There's a lot of players that I competed with on the same team and against who are coaches now. I think we were able to grow up and be positively influenced by a lot of people. And even, Matt Long, who I never played for, I can look, at some of his games and some of his practices when I was able to attend as a coach and take and draw from that. So I was just incredibly lucky to have coaches in my life that, had a powerful, positive impact on me moving forward.
Kyle, what is it about this that you love the most, and what's the big misconception from the outside people have about maybe coaching women's college basketball?
I would tell you that women women listen a lot better than guys do. Being a guy myself, I can attest to that. I think the misconception is it's not as athletic, it's not as exciting. I've had some student athletes in the past, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", that could go up and get the rim. So it's not above the rim play, but the intricacies of basketball, it's still the same. I get that question, posed to me a lot, and it's basketball. I try not to just say, hey, it's women's basketball. At the end of the day, it's ultimately it's one game. You have to adjust a little bit because the game's not above the rim, but it doesn't make it a completely different, category of the sport itself.
And what do you love most about what you do?
I think just being able to have interactions with the players and meeting other coaches and just developing, relationships. I get invited to weddings, from players that have moved on, or I get to write a job reference letter for them. So just little things like that have become increasingly important to me, and it's definitely at the top of the list. Just being able to be a part of their lives after they are out of the university or the college setting. I think that's every bit as important of what I should be doing.
I know it's a necessary evil, and it's something that I hear coaches in your position, always wrestle with, because it is such a draw on your time. But I always get the sense that you liked recruiting. I mean, like unearthing the next gem, that to you is something that made this even more special than just X's and O's of it all. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of kind of who you are, both on a treasure hunt and developmental, side of things as a coach?
Yeah, recruiting is such an important part, obviously, of the collegiate process, and it's something that I do enjoy. I like meeting new people, new families. I like talking to kids, understanding, hey, what makes them tick? Are you going to be a good fit here? Just trying to put all these puzzle pieces together. That's something that Brad Hoyt likes to use, puzzle pieces and all that. So I stole that from him. Coach Hoyt, if you're watching. But it's a challenge. It is competitive. I didn't know as much about game management and things when I started. I'm behind the eight ball, from a knowledge standpoint in specific areas, but I knew that if I wanted to be competitive as a coach and have a good program, that I was going to have to outwork people and have a niche to where I could get in. And recruiting is what it was. I happen to work at it and love it, and it's an extremely enjoyable part of the profession.
One of the reasons we started this, Kyle, was to give young people in this time where we've kind of paused as a society, an idea, a notion that it doesn't matter how small a town they come from. If they're willing to do the time, find that dream and pursue it, they can be anything they want to be. If some young man or young woman out there wants to be a coach, what piece of advice do you think that you could give them that would really kind of clear the way in a way maybe somebody didn't give you that some advice?
Yeah, I would tell, whoever it is, if you want to get into coaching, I don't care what level, to be ready to work. And as long as you are enthusiastic and passionate about what you're doing, the money has a way of taking care of itself. I know it is a drawback. If you want to get your foot in the door, you're not going to make a lot of money. You're going to be, quote unquote, grinding it out all the time on the road, long hours. But if it's what you want to do, hard work and enthusiasm make up for any other deficiencies, that you may think that you have. I wasn't a GA. I didn't play at that Division I level, but it just had a way of working itself out. But anybody out there that wants to be a coach, the money will take care of itself. Just do what you love and work hard at it.